Margarita or pepperoni?
Pepperoni.
Pepperoni or quattro formaggi?
Pepperoni.
Pepperoni or anchovies?
Anchovies.
Anchovies or barbecue chicken?
Never barbecue chicken.
Family life in New York or Abu Dhabi?
Why do you think I'm here? Yeah, I grew up working in restaurants. I think everyone should work in a restaurant for some stage of their life. I kind of worked in a restaurant and got stuck. So forever I've been in them. My career has bridged both art and food, and so one career leads and the other one follows, and usually in close proximity. So I'm a classically trained sculptor. I studied in New York and I studied in Italy, and I practiced in Ireland and also in New York, and then we moved here. I had a big sculpture project in London. I finished that, and I also worked in restaurants. The most notable was a 3-star Michelin restaurant in New York City called Per Se, where I was director of operations, general manager of that restaurant, overseeing 150 people every day and a team that was in pursuit of excellence in everything they did. So I bring that experience to this, which is quite the opposite, but also quite the same. It's very, very simple and very, very honest and very, very lean, but the pursuit of excellence is part of our practice every day. I don't have any degrees, but I have a degree of hard knocks and real experience. So both in art and in food. So I wouldn't have studied culinary either. And so most of my colleagues, especially in a restaurant of that caliber, they did in culinary school. But I find that if you're interested in the reasons behind the things exist, philosophy and art, then everything else makes sense. And so I was able to find my way in food, and I'm able to find my way in sculpture because I'm very curious about the reason behind things and why things work as opposed to the finished product. My father's Iraqi, my mother's English. I'm born in the north of England. I grew up in New York and along the eastern seaboard of the US, and this restaurant and our time here represents that big mashup of stuff. Friday tradition was we made pizza at home. We'd invite friends around or we'd have it just ourselves. And for the longest time, we never knew if we were gonna have pizza on Friday because we never knew if the dough was gonna work out. So I fell down the rabbit hole of making dough and trying to improve on it. And it took a long time. It took a long, long time of at home making pizza that was really, really bad before eventually it started becoming consistent, and then so it's like make pizza, make good pizza at scale, make good pizza fast. That's kind of the trajectory, which is making a pizza restaurant. But it was just our tradition, like growing up, raising our kids, bringing people into our home, making it something that was simple and easy that people could share in. Rather than deciding the destiny of my restaurant, we gave birth to a baby restaurant, and we allowed ourselves the privilege of learning our guests, learning the city, learning supply chain, learning how restaurants run, learning how food runs. And that's the value, I think, in operating a small business and allowing it to grow into its own feet. So the ambition is to become part of the fabric of the city, but I think we begin at the beginning, which is essential to success. We moved to Abu Dhabi in 2014. My wife and myself, my 2 kids, because of my wife's career. She's a physician. So we came here in 2014 for the opening of the Cleveland Clinic. I opened this restaurant in 2019 because I had a window of time and I wanted my kids to work. I didn't want them to grow up in the bubble of privilege or entitlement. I wanted them to have a proper education. Some kids are good at math, some kids are good at sports. It turns out my kids are good with people. So I took this little storage space. It was a storage space. So I like poking around the alleys and the dark corners of the city, and I find my way to these little shops, and they're mostly abandoned. And the one in the corner is particularly interesting because it's on a corner, so it feels like it has a lot of life and a lot of light. And the guy's using it as a storage space. So no water, no electricity, but it's 200 meters right from the water. It's like the water's right outside the door and it's open sky. So it's a perfect location for a restaurant guy. It turns out it's a municipality project. So they rent it to a local guy with the ability to flip it. So the rent is cheap. So you can afford to do something high quality because you're not spending a bunch of money on the rent. So I decide I want to build a little place for my kids to work so I can be the first boss. And so that I can have that layer of fatherhood, like in the practice of being father, who gets to be father, colleague, friend, mentor, all at the same time. So I was selfishly in search of those things. We built it out and we opened a 1-night-a-week pizzeria. So back then Thursday was Friday. So Thursday they finished school, they'd come to work. So I'd start my day at 4 in the morning here, making the dough, getting everything ready. They'd arrive right after school, we'd assemble everything, we'd have a line of people waiting and we'd open the doors. You never knew what you were gonna get. It was all pretty free-form. Emil is very good at systems. So he helped us organize the restaurant as an entity, and Sebastian's very good on his feet. So he was very good at just negotiating a crowd, negotiating a line, fixing problems on their spot. So between the three of us, both boys and myself, it It was a magical, magical time. In the beginning, we were true to the model, and the model was building a restaurant that my kids could work in. And so although we were busy, we refused to hire staff, we refused to open more days, because we didn't need to. We had a simple, tiny little shop, and so it paid for itself being open the one day. And then things grew. And so we've arrived in a place 5 years later where there's a team of 20, where we're contributing to the economy of the city, where we're providing jobs and we're supporting people. It's difficult. Restaurants are difficult on family. And so people ask, even now, we're only open 5 days a week and we're open 4 hours a day, which seems like it's a hobby, right? It seems part-time, but it's not. We start the day at 10, we finish the day at midnight. And so all of us together, it's a long day, but everyone's on a 5-day schedule. And so to open 7 days, I make the joke with our guests a lot. If we open 7 days, my wife would leave me. It's already tough enough on her. Like, I'm not home 5 nights a week for dinner. And achieving consistency, it's really tough. And so building a work-life balance, I'd like to say that it was easy, but it's not. It's not a sustainable lifestyle that I'm living, but I know that I'm doing it in an effort to get to the sustainable part, which inshallah will come.
How's it going?
Good. How's the day?
Good.
You're just in time to be interviewed.
No, it's all you.
Oh. These guys are waiting for you, man.
I know. I know.
How's it going?
Good. Grades are in.
Ladies and gentlemen, Sebastian Dagastani. Yeah, congratulations. He just got his grades. He's going to EHL. Right? Congratulations.
Thank you, sir.
Yes.
Thank you.
What are these? Cake. Wow. We got cake to celebrate that, and she made those special. That's a cookie.
It's a cookie?
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, Martine's the greatest thing that ever happened to me. Right, so we've been together for 25 years. We met in a restaurant and we fell in love, and we've been together since. She's a physician. She's very, very committed to her own career, which has been, that's why I say I've had the luxury as an artist and as a restaurant guy to sort of do projects and to step in and out, and she's been the stable driving force of the family. So Sebastian is 18, he's 17. He'll be 18 July. So Emil is his older brother. Emil graduated from high school. He went to university in Brussels. So he went to KU Leuven, he studied business. He graduated, he smashed it, and then he started his career in London as a risk officer for Bank of America. So he's moving into a finance direction. Sebastian grew up in the restaurant, so literally, like when we built this, I dragged him to the meetings with the municipality. I dragged him to the lease talk. I dragged him to like the Abu Dhabi Agriculture Food Safety Authority. Like when we say he was a partner in the restaurant, he literally went through every step of the process together. And his voice was needed. And then when I hired him, we drew up a contract, we agreed on his wage. It was a proper professional relationship. And so there's when we write it down, it's like Sebastian co-founded this restaurant in 2019 as a 13-year-old. It sounds grossly artificial, but the reality of it is he was made to really be in the trenches every day with it. The restaurant gave him more confidence, it gave him the ability to speak to people, and he gave the restaurant everything, a sense of humor, a sense of playfulness, a great playlist. So we get to be father and son, we get to be colleagues, we get to be mentors, we get to be all those things together. It's really nice.
I feel like Sebastian is a lucky kid.
And me a lucky dad, yeah, for sure.
It's much more than food here. It's much more than a restaurant here. And it is like an extension of our home, genuine. It's like we've built a whole community, which is really cool, just out of pizza. Such a simple thing, you know? It's really nice. Yeah, it's really, really nice.
That's what's so strange, is that it's pizza. I mean, I don't think we even expected the reception to be this strong. This is half food and half social. People come here because they want to hug Raj and introduce him to their babies and...
No, I want to hug them.
Oh. And people go on holiday and they bring us gifts. I mean, it's such an unusual place.
We're in the people business. We sell food, but we're in the people business. These people who make it happen every day and push us to be better than we are, and those people who come to enjoy it. So on both sides of the coin, it's the people business, for sure, 100%. Awards, we're talking about awards. Hooray for the Time Out 2024 Restaurant Awards. We won this year's Best Pizzeria in the capital. Incredible. Awards occupy a strange place today. They kind of get a bad rap because a lot of the conversation is that they're bought. I suggest that they're bought by decent wages, by proper tools, by building a space that's appropriate and doing the best that you can. And so I think that sometimes awards land in the right place, and I'm really proud to represent them for the city and for ourselves and for all the pizza makers in the city and in the UAE. you know, like, yeah, what's next? What's next is tough. What's next is protecting this at all costs, because this has become a gathering place and a community and a great place to work and a really interesting place to visit. We did come here with nothing, in effect. We didn't have friends. We started it pure, and we stayed pure. And so even if we're 20 people that are just making dinner, there's only 5 pizza on the menu, our intention is the same. We use food as an excuse to get people around a table, and that's it. Today we're 5 days a week because I want the entire team to work 5 days and have 2 days off. And so part of our responsibility as an experienced restaurateur is to say, I've inherited the industry at this level, and I'd like to be part of the population that pushes it to the next level. And part of that is a more sustainable life schedule, part of that is a more sustainable wage, part of that is a better working environment, part of that is more experience. So protecting this at all costs is really important. Marmileta means, yeah, that's a good question, right? Because there's a lot of answers. What does it mean? Literally, what does it mean is it means marmalade. And why does it mean marmalade? Because we had a little jam company in Colorado. And so fruit grew everywhere, and I wanted my kids to know where fruit came from, so we started making jam. That blossomed into a small business, and so I wanted to carry that piece of our family history forward. But it means much more than that. It means community, it means togetherness, it means great food, it means the sea outside of the front window, it means the weekend, it means a great place to work, it means the evolution of our guests and what we do for them and together. So it's still to be discovered. Let's say that. Yeah, Marmileta is still to be discovered.